G'day guys, it's Calvin from the Cartoon Company in New Zealand. So I do a lot of 1UZ conversions. Sitting behind me is one that featured in one of my videos. That was a 2003 Hilux with a 3UZ. And it just came back in for a bit of a check over. The man's done about 3,000 Ks since I finished it. I downloaded the file off the computer and I can see that he was for 3,700 and something minutes. It was about 58 hours of running time since it left. He's revved it to 7,000 RPM. Maximum temperature is about 101 degrees from memory. So I can see a lot about what went on, and I can grab the last 27 minutes of drive time in the loggings and see a lot in there. See how many times he's bounced off the rev limiter, which turns out to be none. So I've actually wound it down a little bit. We'll see if he's hitting it after that and see if he complains. And I'd forgotten to turn on the deceleration fuel, so I did that as well. Now, he made a mention as part of the job, as just when he was booking in, about fuel economy. And he wasn't overly bothered, just as a passing comment. And it sparked an interest in reasons for poor fuel economy. And that's what we're going to talk about today. A little bit about me. You'll notice that my business name is the Cartoon Company. Nothing to do with 1UZs in there. But we used to just do tuning. We used to do spark plugs and points. This is going back to when points existed. And I've fitted my fair share of points. Rebuilding distributors, carburetors. I do know how a carburetor works. And I might freak you out when I start saying that the fuel is pushed through the carburetor. People say it's sucked. It's not sucked, it's pushed. But that gave me a fairly good understanding of what goes on, how engines work, and how to make them go better. And then it morphed into full mechanical workshop, and then it's gone back to hiding in the scrub, hiding away from people a little bit, and focusing on 1UZs, because I love doing it. I'm quite passionate about playing with these motors, and so that's what I do. And I'm all about people doing what they love and sharing information. So that's a little bit about me. It's a little bit unrelated to this video, but it gives you an idea when I'm talking about in the past and fuel economy and all those sorts of things. That's where I came from. I came from making cars go better. And I kind of see my job now as recycling. Better for the environment. I'm very pro-environment. But it doesn't mean we're going to stop feeding our gas-guzzling V8s, because I've recycled a second-hand motor into this truck and made it cool again. And that's what life's about. That's what we're here for. So let's get back into it. We were talking about fuel economy today. I probably should look over the ute first. I tend to get a bit distracted. That's how I work. Let's have a bit of a look here. So it's an 03 Hilux. With the 3UZ in it, and that's looking lovely. One of my staff got all upset that I didn't have red tape on there, so I've done that. I've checked the oil level, and the oil's clean, beautiful, hadn't used any. There was the band that went around my oil filter, my air filter, held my air filter in place, my soft band, that had broken, so I replaced that. Checked the fluid levels. Inside, things that annoy me, and I know it's not even part of the job. That changed the sound. I made the interior light go. And just a tech tip for the day, when you put an LED bulb inside, light emitting diode, they have to go in the correct way. I managed to put it in the wrong way late at night. The cabin's all nice and clean. I'm pretty happy with the way it's looking in there. So anyway, that was the main check over. Oh, and we tightened up the body lift mounts. Where are they? Down there. You're down there. There's some. So we did up the body lift mounts. The body mounting bolts, which it's important to do after a few thousand Ks after doing a body lift. And it's a good opportunity for me just to give the vehicle a check over. The drive-by-wire settings needed a little change. So we got all that done. I noticed the tail light out, so I did that. Cleaned a bit of mould out of the back of the tail lights that I could get. But he did mention the fuel economy. This is a fully programmable computer, all changeable, so I've made a couple of changes. And the decel fuel, which is so that turns the injectors off when you take your foot off the accelerator. I'd forgotten to turn that on, so I popped that on. But it made me think about other things when people often forget about when fuel economy, and this ute has one of those things. So there's also transmission problems. This one is a manual, but I had one the other day. The clutch was slippering. It's not going to get good fuel economy when the clutch is slippering like buggery as you drive down the road, revving it a lot harder than you should. So you've got to look at that. We've had transmissions like the problems in the torque converter, so that's been an issue. I had one, actually the vehicle, a little bit of fuel economy, but other stuff you hang off the vehicle, like roof racks, it's going to affect your fuel economy. And on this case, I'll show you what I found. Just turn this around. Now I knew there was actually something else on my list. It is engine related, but it's not really tuning, but thermostats. A lot of cars run a lot cooler than they should. And then they use a lot more fuel, especially with these fuel injected things. So make sure you're getting temperature. I've also had blocked exhausts or restrictive exhausts. Rags in the intake. You know that do not stick. I actually had one, funny as, it had a little thing on the front saying, do not put a rag in this area. And sure enough, we opened it up and the person had stuffed the rag in so they could check their oil, and it was covering up the air intake, causing massive fuel consumption problems. Lucky it couldn't get through the air filter, but it had certainly blocked up the whole of the intake. Now when the vehicle was in here, I noticed the front brakes were sticky last time, so we did a rebuild on the brakes, on the front brakes. That turns good. That turns good. And I went to this one and I went like this. That's not so good. We'll go around the other side. Oh, that one actually spins now. I had a bit of a drive. I did back that one off a little bit. And yes, I know I'm spinning a diff and all those things. However, that one continues to turn after I've stopped spinning. And this one does not. I know what's happened. I went in there before to have a bit of a look, and it's got it's got a leaking wheel cylinder. Covered the shoes with a bit of fluid. They've swollen up and gotten tight. So if you're looking at fuel economy, don't just think of the engine and spark plugs and leads and coils and all those other things, but think about the rest of the vehicle as well. What else is going on? What else is causing drag? And in this case, seized up brakes. So I'm going to get into this. Actually, another great thing about this particular vehicle is I built it for the guy to use. I don't like building cars that sit in sheds. Even the hot rod that I'm about to work on, that I drove out this morning, you can see it outside, it's going to be used. This one, the man's tie downs are in the back. He actually happens to have a hotted up CR500 motor in an off-road drag bike. So I probably should see if I can get hold of him one day and have a look at that. I think he's up to about 600 cc's, around about, maybe a 640, 620. That's pretty cool. He's putting the bike on the back. He's going out and he's using it. He uses it to get to work. So I'm really happy that he's actually getting a lot of enjoyment out of this truck. And it is fun to drive. I did have to go pick up the parts, so I did take it for a drive to test the throttle settings, and whoop whoop, it is fun. Actually, another little change happened. If you watched the first video, the ute got a little bit louder since it was last here. For those of you, well, we might even have a look underneath it, shall we? Another thing to consider about your fuel economy: chunky tyres. Tyre drag itself. That can use your fuel economy up as well. Reduce your fuel economy. So under here it's looking pretty good. I was really happy with it. But this exhaust, it's only 2.5 inch. We come off the headers, and it's got a set of my headers in there. It's got a set of my headers, and it comes off in 2 1/4. Comes down the side. I had to put a shield on that side because of the cert rules, and I just missed it. There's a line running close to the exhaust. Runs across, there's a flange. Comes in here. I would like to see a resignator just in the front here, and it's 2.5 inch from this point here, from where it joins. Oh, actually from this point here. It's 2.5 inch through a big stainless offset muffler, and then out the back. And that sounds absolutely awesome. So that's a really good system. It is a little bit loud. I would prefer a reso in it. But if you want it to bark when you get it up in the revs, it does that, and man, it responds so well, this engine. So I've got some work to do. If I've got my overalls ready to do some work, because this is going to be a dirty job. If you've had a situation where you've had something other than the engine causing fuel economy problems, hey, drop it in the comments. We'll have a chat. Be interested to hear from it. And we'll talk to you later.